Hey, welcome to a new video. A young man comes back to his house and finds on his living room carpet his own body. Nearby, there's an envelope with "Look at me" written on it. The shock soon turns into curiosity as Alex spots a USB drive inside the envelope, plugs it into his computer, and sees an image of himself. The digital Alex confirms he isn't hallucinating or losing his mind and tells him to pay close attention. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we continue, also like the video. Everything began when Men in Black visited his home. Rebecca, who works for a private tech research company that partners with the US National Security Agency, has an intriguing proposition for Alex. Before she can tell him more, Alex has to sign a confidentiality agreement, and for this, Rebecca hands him a hefty check. Once the paperwork is done, Alex is told about an unidentified American satellite that wasn't launched by the US. Surprisingly, this satellite is said to be from the future and holds a secret message. If Alex agrees, he will be sedated and taken to the lab. Knowing Alex is nearly broke and owns only the house left by his parents, the Institute aims to show they're serious by immediately transferring a large amount of money into Alex's bank account, persuading him to sign the contract. The following day, he is put in a car, given a sedative, and wakes up later in a secluded, mysterious facility. Rebecca shows him the lab where the satellite is already set up, and Alex starts working on the problem. 5 weeks go by without any breakthroughs. Rebecca suggests Alex should take a day off, but he doesn't feel he needs one. Then, one day, he has a vision of a young woman solving the same problem. Following the vision, Alex's nose starts to bleed. Later, he finds the woman's name written on his bed frame. Soon after, Alex manages to decode part of the message, revealing sketches of an unfamiliar device. Rebecca then tells him his job is done and that he'll be taken back home. Alex wakes up at home late at night, feeling sick from what he thinks is just exhaustion and stress. But soon, the discomfort gets worse, and he starts experiencing continuous hallucinations. One day, two odd-looking men show up at his doorstep, demanding to know why he agreed to decode the message. Alex is confused because decoding is just his well-paying job. The men keep pushing, asking if he ever thinks about the moral implications of his work, especially since the device that could be built from the sketches would be the most powerful weapon in the world. Alex's head begins to ache, and he asks the men to leave. They thank him for his responses and go. Alex feels immediately better and sits down at his computer. But then Rebecca calls to remind him of the confidentiality agreements he signed. Annoyed, Alex realizes the Institute is monitoring him. And as he sits back down at the computer, the power goes out. Stepping outside, he sees one of the men across the street, but the man starts to grow inexplicably. Terrified, Alex dashes back inside and watches from the window as the giant's hand reaches toward it. Alex reaches out toward the giant hand, and then it's morning. Rebecca arrives and finds Alex hard at work. He tries to explain that humans live in a two-dimensional space, while his recent visitors belong to a highly advanced civilization that exists not only in space, but also in time. They could be present in this very room, but at different times, observing through a sort of time window. Alex warns Rebecca about the danger of the device they're building, which could trigger World War III. Then Rebecca reveals she knows about his brain tumor. Alex accuses the Institute of causing his tumor by exposing him to a radioactive satellite and insists they halt the device's construction. In the present, Alex drags his deceased body out of his house and buries it in the forest. He then returns to his computer to continue hearing the story from his future self. Future Alex regrets that no one listened to him because he foresaw something dreadful approaching. He then remembers the woman. She's a cryptographer. Alex finds her address, but Beth refuses to see him. Desperate, Alex yells out that he is dying and has only 6 months left. Moved by his plight, Beth opens the door and reveals she has 2 years left. She too realized the drawings were of a weapon and supposedly from the future. She mentions another person, Shearman, who communicates with her through the computer, sending tasks she completes when she feels well. Beth suddenly feels sick, so a man helps her to her bedroom. Meanwhile, he goes downstairs, and it seems like he sees Beth's life reflected in the mirrors. There she is saying farewell to her loved one in military attire. There her friends deliver heartbreaking news. And there she is with a handful of pills, attempting to end her life. But then a message from Shearman pops up on the computer. Alex replies, but Shearman quickly figures out it's not Beth and disconnects. Alex then grabs a stack of printed papers with tasks previously sent by Shearman. In the morning, Beth finds him asleep on her sofa, surrounded by papers stuck together. He tells her that these papers are pieces of a puzzle which, once put together, could reveal the truth. It's clear to Alex that Shearman doesn't work at the Institute. He pleads with Beth to help him stop the creation of a deadly machine. Beth shares that she started feeling sick right after working with the satellite, experiencing hallucinations and contemplating a message from the future, pondering if it was possible to communicate with the sender. She even heard voices of the deceased and once her own. She saw figures she believed were aliens, though she's skeptical of their existence, and asks Alex to leave. When Alex returns home, he finds the men in black waiting for him. Rebecca instructs him not to see Beth again and to use his remaining time wisely. Furious, Alex tells them off and discovers upon entering his house that all his papers with findings are gone. Meanwhile, Beth is startled by a blinding light at her place that makes her ill and scream in fear. Trying to drown his worries with alcohol, Alex gets a message from Shearman on his computer. He suspects Rebecca is using this alias, but the person on the other end denies it. Just then, the doorbell rings. It's Beth. She tells him Shearman directed her here and sent her blueprints for a device capable of neutralizing the future technology. Together, they start to develop a virus to destroy the machine being built from these blueprints, which they had decrypted through the computer. But the next morning, Rebecca storms into Alex's house. The Institute knows about their activities and is on their way. Rebecca reveals herself as Shearman and tells them she intended to destroy the device with their help. She provides the name of the Institute's founder and urges them to go to him immediately. As vehicles converge on Alex's house, the couple flees through the back door. Rebecca is caught, injected, and thrown into a car. Meanwhile, all the gas burners in the kitchen are left open. By evening, Alex and Beth reach the home of scientist Miles, who recognizes them immediately as he has been following their work. He reveals that the satellite in question was not alone. Another has orbited Earth for about 400 years. According to Miles, beings from the future have been waiting for humans to advance enough to reach space and decode their messages. This ancient satellite contained blueprints for a machine designed to restrict human evolution within the third dimension. Despite his groundbreaking discovery, Miles was ridiculed. He also developed a tumor, which fortunately was non-fatal. He believes that these aliens can exist in multiple dimensions, perceiving time non-linearly, unlike humans. The device currently being constructed at the Institute could allow these beings access to our dimension. Up to now, they have been like spectators watching a movie. They can observe but not alter events. However, the new device could enable them to change reality itself. Miles is only starting to grasp the nature of this interaction and cannot fully articulate it yet. He mentions that even the visual appearance of the aliens is shaped by the human brain. Interestingly, he claims to have been in contact with a massive alien, visible only to him, living in his garden for over 30 years. He constantly observes it, which has allowed his brain to adapt and begin to perceive the true form of this humanoid, though his guests see nothing. Miles believes the tumors in their heads are actually aids from the aliens, enabling humans to perceive their reality. Alex suggests they could just smash the device with a hammer, but there's no guarantee the Institute wouldn't just rebuild it, so they need to wipe all data from the server. Although the location of the Institute remains unknown. However, Miles, being one of its founders, produces a map with a detailed layout of the Institute. Just then, a loud bang at the door interrupts them. The couple flees while Miles attempts to soothe the enraged alien. Alex and Beth soon arrive at the Institute and find an entry hatch, sneaking inside. To better their odds of finding the lab, they split up. Inside, Alex notices a guard's bizarre behavior, repeatedly walking backwards, and realizes time within the Institute is looping. Beth also gets caught in this loop. Despite her efforts to move forward, she realizes it's futile, activates a bomb, but can't escape the danger zone due to the time loop. Meanwhile, Alex, in a dark room attempting to move the bomb, encounters an alien who disintegrates him into tiny particles. Moments later, Alex finds himself strapped to a table, facing a humanoid. He thinks he has died, but the alien clarifies they are just curious about human experience and perception of time. For the aliens, linear time is a foreign and monotonous concept, an exhausting cycle of meaningless routines. Humans, trapped in this cycle, are doomed to repeat the same experiences. Aliens, existing outside of time and space, are present in all moments, making the human understanding of cause and effect perplexing to them. The alien ponders, what would happen if humans no longer had to wait for anything? Alex realizes that without the constraints of time, humans might resemble aliens, but at the cost of losing their personal identity, their ego. The alien reflects on death as a natural occurrence, yet humans avoid and distance themselves from it. Time dictates human life, both granting and stealing from them. Humans perceive the world as they imagine it, and the alien questions, what happens when the basis of that projection vanishes? Despite endless self-analysis, humans cannot discern between reality and illusion. With every new birth, a new reality emerges, leaving humans perpetually at a crossroads of choice. Alex is feeling terrible when the alien offers him a chance to return to the moment before he became ill, armed with the knowledge he has now. Alex decides he would have avoided working at the Institute and prevented all that followed. The alien is puzzled. Why would he change his actions if he can't alter the outcome? Alex then confesses people don't get to choose what happens next. The humanoid presses further. Would returning to the past make any difference? Can anything really change? Suddenly, Alex finds himself back in his home, in front of his computer. He records a message on a flash drive, accepting that nothing can be altered. The world might end tomorrow, but this isn't news. Everything has already happened. It all ended before it even started. He places the flash drive in an envelope and collapses to the floor. The last message on the flash drive features Alex in the past warning Beth, and he drives to the girl's house, while Alex in the future, in his final words, pleads to forget everything and just live on. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If so, like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. See you in the next one.